You can be working, and sharing so much and putting so much out there and sharing your story, sharing your testimony, growing your business, and yet not seeing the results that you desire. And that's because your message isn't landing.
There's always a turning point, the moment that tries to break you, but ends up launching your destiny. This is Miracle Moment. I'm Ray Ireland, and I'm here to help you rise into the mission God created you for. Let's jump in.
The first 100K month that I hit came specifically from doing this one thing. And this one thing I was pretty scared of doing because I felt like if I actually do it, I'm going to be taking my eyes off my business. So this one thing is messaging. And today that's what I want to talk about is how to align your focus and really get dialed in on your message so that you can have more momentum in your business, and how to do it without stalling out. So that way you can continue to grow and thrive as you're taking this precious sacred time to dial in your message. So the reason why this is so important is because you can be working, and sharing so much and putting so much out there and sharing your story, sharing your testimony, growing your business, and yet not seeing the results that you desire. And that's because your message isn't landing. Have you ever seen the other people on social media that are just posting all the time, but it's sort of just like going in one ear, out the other? It's not actually landing. And then you have someone else who posts something so specific and clear, and you're like, I need to read that multiple times. And actually, I'm going to send it to 10 girlfriends. And right, that's really good messaging. And that's what is possible when you take that time to actually slow down. Now, it can happen a lot faster these days with AI, which is really cool because you can ask AI to act as an amazing copywriter and things like that. But still, when it comes down to it, you do want to slow down that tendency to just go and get your message out there. So this is what happened for me when I had my first 100K month. Now, I had really slowed down quite a bit. I actually almost took the entire month prior to really dial in my message. And I knew that I wanted to launch something new, and I knew that I was not clear. So it might have looked different than what you think. It wasn't me just in my office or on my computer all day long. It was actually a month of travel. And so for me, that looked like being in Central America, traveling around. I was almost on the beach every day, doing adventures, playing music. And that gave me the time and space to actually just sit and think and receive understanding around my message and what I really wanted to say. What was the thing that I really wanted women to get? And so on the other side of that, I had a very clear idea and vision for the new mastermind that I wanted to create and share. I had a very clear idea of the exact type of woman that I wanted in that group. And guess what? Boom, I filled all those 10 spots. And so that was really just a beautiful testament to slowing down to speed things up. And I remember prior to that, I knew that things were like a little bit off in my messaging, and I felt like I was sort of missing a little bit of clarity, but I didn't take the time to slow down. And it was really interesting because it felt like I was like running an uphill battle where I kept putting things out there, but they weren't quite catching on and landing as I wanted them to. I was actually just on Necker Island with Richard Branson, and we got to do some really fun sailing while I was over there, going through the British Virgin Islands. It was beautiful. And it actually reminded me a lot of my childhood when I would go out with my family and we would get a sailboat and we'd go sail out on the bay in San Diego. And it reminded me of this metaphor that I think works so well with this, which is when you trim the sails, that's when you can have steadier winds, right? And that's the same thing. When you really dial in your message, you can streamline to success, and you can hit it right on that perfect positioning where others really can see and feel you and feel trust. All of that gets escalated and accelerated faster than ever before. And then you're able to have some huge strides, just like some other people that you've maybe seen online or friends that you've witnessed.
If you're loving this conversation and it's sparking something inside of you, maybe it's time to share your own voice with the world. That's exactly why we created the Podcast Accelerator, to help leaders like you go from hidden to heard with a podcast that connects, inspires, and actually grows your business. We launch together in just a few months, and you'll have the system, support, and strategy to keep scaling and growing. Doors are open now, so the link to apply is in the show notes. We cannot wait to see you in there.
Just imagine if you don't trim those sales back, what's going to happen? If you don't take the time to really dial in your message, you're just sort of going to be caught in this like whirlwind where you're going to be maybe throwing out different promises. You're trying this, you're trying that. And guess what? Your people and your listeners and your audience are going to feel that. Even if they actually want to work with you, they're going to be like, this isn't the time. And they're going to have their own objections that hold them back from actually moving forward, because there's just a little extra confusion there. This journey really isn't about just growing a business. It's really just about actually taking a moment to align to a higher calling and letting your message really just like settle in, giving yourself that time and space to do that. So that way you can make that really unique mark on those who you are meant to make it on, right? You and your business is not meant for everyone, and that's really important to remember. So I want you to just take a moment, maybe reflect yourself on any pivotal experiences where you've had big momentum in your business, and did it come from a little pause or a little moment of clarity? And I was recently reading a book where the author was actually talking about how important it is. And this is how people scale and jump to the multi-million-dollar businesses and million-dollar incomes, is when they actually start taking thinking time and putting that in their calendar on a weekly basis. My story, it's a little bit more seasonal because I wasn't doing it. I took a big month off, and then to really dial in my message, have that thinking time, and then I had a big month after that. Now, that's not always going to be the case, and you might not be able to do that, right? I wasn't a mom then. I didn't have a partner, all of that stuff. But if you can actually dial it in so that way you're having that thinking time once a week, imagine what can happen, what clarity you can get. So again, it's just like looking at trimming those sales. Focus on cutting away any unnecessary elements so that you can highlight those key points that really resonate way more powerfully with your audience and the exact people that you want to be working with and connecting to. So the way that you're going to be able to do this is always imperfect action. You've got to put it out there. You've got to test and refine that message and really get feedback from others. Listen to what they have to say. And if you're getting back confusion, take that thinking time. Like, there will be a shift and change, and you will see the difference once you have dialed it in. So that's what I'm going to inspire you all to do today, is to just take a moment today to really identify maybe one area in your life where you can have a little bit more reflection. So this might be in your messaging, or it might be in another part of your business where you just really need to sit down, think it through, and give yourself a little bit of grace and space to be able to come up with the best answer and the best solution for everyone involved. And when you do this for yourself, you're not only going to be growing a business, having more clients, but you're actually going to be able to serve those people who've been looking for you. If you're messy and unclear, they're not going to be able to find you. And that's one of the worst parts that we want to just really avoid, is I want you to be able to go out and serve the people that you are meant to serve. So do that today. Take a moment to get unstuck by just having a little bit of thinking time and space, and really sitting in that pocket of surrendering control, letting go of timelines, and seeing all that God has for you.
Thanks for listening to Miracle Moment. Share the episode, hit follow, and join us every Thursday for prayer and activation. For more tools to rise into your God-given mission, visit rayireland.com. See you next week.